Buddhism and psychology.
What I got was the Buddha said that human suffering ranging from anxiety to sadness to unfulfilled cravings are resulting from not seeing reality clearly. The self in Western psychology is reviewed as the function of the mind that helps us organize our experiences. Pretty much taking raw data, memories, and other cognitive functions and turning them into like a narrative story, and then determines our feelings and our emotions on how we relate to things that happen to us in the future. From past experiences, the Buddhist term for happiness is sukha, which may be defined in context as a state of flourishing that arises from mental balance and insight to the nature of reality, which is what you're trying to establish through meditation. So rather than fleeting emotions or moods by sensory, the Buddhists believe that happiness is an enduring trait that arises from a mind through awareness of true nature reality. So pretty much that's what I got out of that. Another point that I have is psychologists do not distinguish between beneficial and harmful emotions. The goal in any psychological reform is the attempt to improve one's emotional life and not to rid oneself of transcendent emotion, not even of hatred due to regulated experiences and actions through emotions that are felt. Buddhism focuses on 3 mental processes that are considered to be harmful toxins of the mind. The first is the craving. This is a mental process based on unrealistic and unrefined distinctions between self and others, or between objects and subjects. Hatred is the second fundamental affliction of the mind and is reverse affliction of craving. It is driven by a wish to harm or destroy anything that obstructs us or anybody that we care about. And the third is the affliction of the mind, of grasping onto one's self and refined personal identity, or what they feel is their personal identity.
Okay. Has anyone of you seen psychology before?
That's my major.
No, I mean that you went to see them.
Oh, psychologists? No.
To seek out for counseling.
I have.
Okay, so expensive?
No, mine was all free through military.
Oh, I see. So it's helpful.
Yeah. I mean, I went and I talked to somebody for a couple of hours and then I left.
That's all.
Yeah.
It just have someone for you to talk.
Yeah.
Okay. You see, is it psychology or education? No. Okay. But you are in major, right? And psychology major, right?
Education, which you have to know a lot about psychology.
Oh,
So I
okay.
guess.
Yeah. High school.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a lot of similarities in Buddhism and psychology, right? I just listen this one. This and this Wikipedia says this are the 3. The 3 era that's Buddhism and psychology called. Actually 4, sorry. Yeah, the descriptive phenomenology talk about the phenomenological psychology systems relate to phenomena. The second one is the psychotherapist meaning just mean using Buddhist psychology or using Western psychology to cure the illness of the mind, the illness of the mind emotions. Clinical utilities again deal with helping mental health practitioner to help the clients, and this led to popular psychology and spirituality. So there's a cross section between Buddhism and psychology. But can you find any differences between Buddhism and psychology? Any differences? Any anything that is so obvious that you can recognize? No? So who are in psychology major?
I guess dreams, but we really haven't talked about dreams in here and how.
Not much. Okay, let me point out for you since we don't have much time. Okay, here. I think in the West, that when we talk about the mind, how to deal with the patient, right? We have these two sets of mind, right? Negative and positive, right? Let's say when you have depression, you're so depressed, and you walk into the office, the public psychologist, how would they help you out when you're so depressed?
Medicine.
Huh?
Medicine.
Medicine?
Yeah.
That's
No, I feel like they tend to medicate rather than try to fix.
And what else?
Not always.
What else?
They offer like lifestyle changes too. They say if you're depressed, you can do things to like exercise. They'll recommend exercising a lot to try to change the chemical balance of your brain.
And how about your mind? Of course, this is they can help you to give some type of alternate ways, like taking some nutrition, some vitamins, and what else? What you just mentioned?
Exercising and positive, like exercises to do positive thoughts, even mental exercises, like to say good things about yourself.
Lift up your spirit, right?
Yeah.
You see the life is so beautiful, life has so much meaning and so forth, right? So that they could help you to get out of that depression, right? But in Buddhism, do we do that? Do we do that?
Meditation, kind of.
Yeah, kind of, but remember what you say. The more you resist, the more it persists. You understand that? What it means? The more you run away from the problems mentally, the more you clear your mind. You see that? So, but of course, that's okay too. At least you replace the negative thought with the positive. But it's like within yourself, there's two, what we call the fighting of the two armies, right? Good, bad, negative, and positive, right? You have the battlefield within your mind, is that right? So that's a problem. That's why psychologists look for Buddhist psychology. Let's remember, we go beyond this negative and positive. Whenever you fight or fly, we still swim back and forth with the emotion. Is that right? And that's why, remember I told you about the three components of mindfulness? What's the first one? Present. Second?
Wisdom.
No, not wisdom. Second. Remember? Three components of mindfulness, yes?
Concentration.
You said present, right?
Yeah, present, the first one. Second?
I was thinking past and future. Is that not right?
That's the present.
Okay.
Don't link yourself, don't bring your mind back to the past and go to the future. Be here now. Second one, you don't remember? Or did I tell you yet?
Yeah.
Okay. The second one, remember? Please, when you do meditation, please remember these two components, two important.
Focus. Focus.
Focus. Kind of, not yet.
I want to find it in my book.
Oh, it's not easy to do.
I can't remember.
Remember? Awareness.
Oh, awareness.
Please remember awareness. When you hear now, you please remember you're aware. You're aware doesn't mean you can concentrate, right? You're aware, you recognize, you understand. Is that right? That's the second one. The last one is that's different from this one. This one, you fight, you are in mode of fighting, right? If you have depression, you use a positive mind to fight with the depression, right? And this is more problem in this may occur. That's why they may prescribe the medicine for you to change the chemical imbalance in your mind. And sometimes it gets worse. Why? The patient may be dependable on the medicine. You know? And actually, last week I spoke with a couple. They have a son who has some mental problems. And now he's 23. When he was 19, somehow because of their relatives' suggestion, they brought him to see a doctor, a psychologist, and so forth. They prescribed him the medicine, and now he totally depends on the medicine. Without the medicine, what happened? He may have withdrawal symptoms. He may commit suicide, whichever that's what he does. So, but if we can have this kind of people in a natural way, it's much, much better. Of course, some severe problems we need to take medicine. That's a different story. But so the point I want to say is what? Finding between these two poles again, it's a temporary solution. The last one, remember? Can you remember? Acceptance. Instead of fighting, you accept that you're depressed. You accept that's the problem there. When you accept, you can move on. You accept that you are not perfect. Make sense? Right? If you say, I'm perfect, and people let me down and so forth, if you accept, okay, I'm not perfect, I'm human, it may have to be more helpful. And take medicine. You understand that? Yes?
I was just going to say, an old therapist of mine, I used to go to her for an eating disorder, and at the time, she didn't really incorporate this stuff in, but after years of being away, I noticed she started incorporating a lot of Buddhism and meditation, and she's talked to me before and said that now they offer like meditation with the therapy, and because eating disorders are a hard thing to medicate anyways, but it really helps, especially with kids who have eating disorders, because it kind of gets them out of their mental, distorted mental images of themselves and get outside of yourself for a bit. It's really helped a lot of people.
Yeah, that's a different. It's more effective in the long term when you find this is still short term, right? Since you still have the battles inside your mind. This is really more anxiety too. The reason why they give you medicine to calm down your mind, and you may be dependable on the medicine. Anyways, there's a lot of error. This is crossover. That's why psychologists now they like to work to use this psychology to help patients. Okay, so number 2, Emily, what do you have?
It's the evolution one, right?
Yes. What do you have? Evolution. Oh, sorry, that's number 2. Quantum physics. Is that right? That's okay.
Okay.
That's okay.
So,
You do number 3, right?
yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Who does number 2? Quantum physics. Who knows quantum physics? No? You don't have any idea about quantum physics?
I think that's the idea. I've
Yeah.
heard about quantum physics. I'm not a physicist.
Okay. But most of you have taken physics, right?
No.
Really?
In high
I'm
school,
wrong class, right?
I've taken one physics class, and that was on energy and technology, like how the energy from the world, like how we get sunlight to go into the, whatever they're called, I can't think of the term, it sounds awful, but goes into how we get sunlight to transfer into to light the rooms and things like that.
electricity, I think it's called.
Thank you. Electricity. I could not.
So most of you are in
That's why I'm not a physicist.
liberal arts, right? Humanity, right? You're not in engineering types, right? Okay, that's okay. That's normal.
All those people go to Purdue.
Really?
Yeah, the Purdue's the engineering school. I use
Okay, okay. Okay, let me show you this quickly, and you understand what's meant by quantum physics. Okay? Oh, wow.
Scientists are using these theories to break new ground and explore the edges of our scientific understandings. Quantum physics goes beyond the conventional Newtonian physics of the past and attempts to explain the behavior of particles like electrons, protons, and neutrons. In fact, quantum physics even describes smaller particles which make up these particles. Comprehending atoms on such a finite level is helping us understand the matter which makes up the universe, the way it behaves, and sometimes misbehaves. Observations on the quantum level surround us everywhere and explain the world in which we live. However, quantum theory may not be as new and innovative as one might think. Although terminology and applications have changed, basic concepts of quantum physics correlates to hypotheses, practices, and religions of ancient times. Actually, many of our New Age scientific thought relate back to the ancient religions like Buddhism. One can see important similarities between quantum theory and Buddhism in quantum Sangha-II, relative theory, and Capricci-Samappada, and string theory. To get better understanding of these relationships between the recent scientific discoveries in quantum physics and the ancient practices of Buddhism, one must first have a handle on the basic foundations of quantum theory and string theory. This is not a complete scientific breakdown of the intricacies of quantum theory, but rather this is an attempt to broadly explain, on a basic level, the fundamental outcomes of quantum physics. After giving a basic overview of these fields, I'll explore the intriguing connections between quantum theory and Buddhism. To fully comprehend the field of quantum theory, one must look into the history and the early stages of development. Quantum theory replaced classical mechanics and electromagnetism and explained physics at the atomic and subatomic levels. This theory further explained the four unknowns that classical physics could not explain: quantization of physical qualities, wave-particle duality, uncertainty principle, and quantum entanglement.
Expect you confused because you don't have any clue about quantum physics, right?
Oh, I know what string band theory is.
Okay, what's that?
String band theory, he said there are particles smaller than atoms, which are called quarks. And smaller than quarks are these subatomic particles that look like little vibrating bands. They're all connected to every other vibrating band.
Mm-hmm.
Which, well, by being able to do that, they've proven that there are more dimensions that we're not able to pick up on.
Okay.
I mean, like that's string band theory in a nutshell.
Okay, what do you call this one?
Electron.
Electron and
Proton.
proton, and what called the neutral one?
Neutron.
Neutron. So when actually I'm engineer, you know. So when the electron and proton, right, they move and interact, they create energy, right? And what happens with neutron? They don't create energy. So they are dependable with each other. Is that right? They depend each other. So if you that means you cannot split them in half. They are dependable. Let me summarize for you. Remember when we talk about emptiness? It does mean nothingness. Remember? What's mean? Nothing stands by itself independently. Is that right? Remember that? If you take up a piece of, the model chip of the laptop, or any chip and so forth, or the keyboard and so forth, we don't call. This is not a laptop anymore. The motherboard is not a laptop. So you have to have some components so that we can put together and we call as a laptop. So nothing can stand itself independently. That's what's called emptiness. And talking about in quantum physics again, that's what we call
String band theory.
they link together. They affect each other. Nothing stands by itself independently. You understand that? It's like the process between the quantum physics and Buddhist emptiness there. And plus, we know, right? I told you again, A equals MC squared. That energy, right? Never lost. It transforms from one form to other. This is belong to the quantum physics too. It's much easier to understand, right? So there's a concession there, especially with the emptiness idea in this view. So anyway, it's really complicated. If you actually this is from a professor, and this one here, which university? Anyway, I don't know. Anyway, so he tries to explain the relationship between Buddhism and quantum physics in that sense, in general idea. Okay? All right. Since it's about more than 9 minutes, I don't want to waste time. Okay? So that's the relationship between Buddhism and physics, quantum physics. Okay, now move on, please. Amy, what do you have for evolutions, include reincarnation?
Well, there are no major principles of Buddhism that contradict evolution, but many Buddhists somewhat accept the theory. Among the 14 unanswerable questions that Buddha had, they were areas of speculation about eternity and infinity of the universe at large. But a lot of Buddhists, they don't think about these things. They don't need to really, because it's not why they're here. They're here to help alleviate suffering of others and try to spread the word about Buddhism. But Buddha had this idea, he presented this model of cosmology where the universe expands and contracts over extremely long periods of time. Pretty much it was like the model of the Big Bang Theory, that it starts out, it expands outward and reaches a stabilizing point, and then turns its motion back into a central point, resulting in its destruction. So it constantly is reborn again over time, kind of like reincarnation is the whole Earth. But they say he said it starts out like the Earth is a big bowl of water, and I guess there's one landmass, and it starts out in darkness, there's nothing around, and then things start to evolve and undergo periods of development and change. Beings become attached to an Earth-like planet and get reborn there and remain there for a duration of life. And I think he was talking about somewhere in my paper that that they go through different stages of life, like we were talking about how we're in this being right now, or this dimension, and then there's different areas of afterlife that you can become a Buddha, is that what we were talking about, being reincarnated into this world. We pass on to the next world, and then there's different levels. I forget what we,
That's good. Yeah, so let me mention one more time. Within our body, do we have that type of reincarnation, that type of growth, every moment, every second? Our skin, if you study health, you study health, right? Our skin, who study biology, who are in the what
About biology.
who else? You guys have taken biology before, right? So what happened to our skin? The reason why we take a shower every day, right? Because
It dies.
it's dying and reborn, die, or the cell, right? The cell, the skin. It's radiant every day, right? Every moment, right? And it dies soon too, right? And we are in that process of rebirth. And what happened when we take the food, when we take the drink? Is that a cycle? You understand that? That's within our body. How about our mind? It doesn't cycle. Some moment we up, some moment we down. Is that right? Some moment we so delightful, some moment we so depressed. What you call up and down in life, is that right? That's cycle, yeah. And in the present sense, and there's what you call, I think I covered with you this one here before, right? The 12 Prince condition, briefly. You know what, have I covered with about this thing before? So again, in the former life, because ignorance would make a karma here. We talk about karma, right? Because karma